It's day 309, and this past week we had an Arctic outflow, which meant that temperatures dropped to about -16 by one neighbor's thermometer, which might not sound so bad to people in other parts of Canada, but there's something cold about the cold here. I've slept out in close to -40 without a tent and was not as cold as during some of the nights here. And all the standing water froze, including what was in the rainwater cistern, so there was no water flowing into the cabin, nor any water flowing out as the drains also froze solid. So no washing up, and I ended up taking my dishes to someone else's cabin to wash in their warm water. But even people who were on the grid lost their water as well, as some of them had their pumps freeze, which turned it into an expensive week for a few. I guess that's one of the upsides of being low tech. My garden hoses seemed to survive the cold just fine, and when it finally did thaw at the end of the week, everything was working just fine. But another inconvenience from the cold was the float plane from the mainland wasn't flying, which meant our sushi was delayed. That's right, flying sushi. You might remember me mentioning that if you're in need out here, people will generally step in to help. And a friend here in town, Andrew Merrilees, heard about or saw my rather plaintive cry out for sushi and made it happen. He's friends with the owners of a Japanese restaurant in Prince Rupert, Oppa Sushi, and had them stick platters of sushi on the float plane over. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed that. And it made me actually realize that I keep thinking about the city to satisfy certain cravings, but there are real hidden gems in some of these northern communities like Oppa Sushi in Prince Rupert. Another thing that got hampered by the cold was the Coast Guard auxiliary training. The week before we were even out on the water doing training on the boat, but this past week we couldn't even drive to classroom training indoors. We turned around partway on our trip down south because of black ice all over the roads. But it wasn't all bad. I gained a new appreciation for things like wool and down and foam. I finally got around to addressing those minor drafts in the cabin that had been nagging me. But in this kind of cold, they turn into flying knives. So I broke out the weather stripping, foam weather stripping, and sealed around the doors and the window in the loft. And each morning I'd go out to the outhouse and find the throne frosted with ice. And so I made this little toilet seat pad out of foam, and I gotta say that really saved my bacon. Also, I had a dream come true this week. I'd always wanted to go pond skating. I had felt like I'd missed out on that quintessential Canadian experience of skating outside on natural ice. I borrowed some skates and got out for the first time in decades. Really very happy about that. Nothing that I would have expected to have happened out here. And yeah, the good news is we've thawed out. It was warm enough actually yesterday to get out surfing, even if I had to pull a massive chunk of ice out of the rain bucket to rinse my wetsuit. But anyway, have a great week, and I will talk to you next Tuesday. Thanks.